Hi everybody, what is up? I am Lady Stars on Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for July 10th through the 17th. Now, if you've never watched the video before, I say this each time, but if you've never watched the video before, basically what I do is I ask Spirit for guidance to help us move forward, for any and all who watch the video, in the most positive and healing ways within our lives. And then I go with what they give me. Then I also get into astrology. And sometimes I give runes. Sometimes I give a second video for the rune cast. So I'm giving you a little bit of a 3 for 3. However, there was 5 runes that came this time. And I'm kind of tired, to be honest, today. So I posted them on social media everywhere, what the runes are. And if you read that, you will understand better through this healing messages, through this week's healing messages, how that works with the astrology and what Spirit is giving us. Because I said last week that we are starting off, this is July. This is a 7-month. This is divine manifestation. Period. Divine manifestation, which is a great thing. Helps us get over that hump and start to move into the direction we truly want to be. Sometimes that we don't even realize that we want to be in. And what I was saying last week is, while divine manifestation is wonderful and such a great thing, and we're thankful for it, that doesn't always come in the most comfortable, fluffy ways. Because sometimes some shit has to be flushed out of your life, or your system and your chakras. And that doesn't always come in as easily. That's why we've had so much energy changes. We're feeling all that energy shifts going on. And we're about to start feeling them even more. But when I get into the astrology, I will hit you with that. Last week, though, or as we end this past week on the 9th, and we're going into this week from the 10th through the 17th, we ended it on a full moon in Capricorn. Now, this full moon in Capricorn is a perfect setting for the new moon that will be coming up, as well as moving us into the eclipses for next year. Not next year, for next month. And helping us prep for the new information that we will need to learn when we enter Mercury retrograde as well. That it will be upcoming. Because this full moon was like helping us see what we truly need to see and putting things into proper perspective in ways that maybe we didn't want to see that proper perspective, or forcing us to deal with some stuff because it needs to be put into proper perspective. It's a reset, basically. You've made it through the first 6 months. And so it put it into perspective of where you're at and how to start to move it forward. However, we are still working through some of that energy that was lifted up through that full moon. And we're going to be noticing it throughout this month and as we go into the new moon, along with these energy shifts. Now, like I said, it's a reset that's happening, which is going to have a lot of energy shifts going on and cleaning out of your chakras and your life in general. But I'm going to remind you before I get into what Spirit is giving me, is Ceres on the 11th goes, Ceres on the 11th moves into Cancer. Now, Ceres is moving into Cancer on the 11th. That is this week. Everything else is actually happening next week. But that does not mean that the energies are not going to start showing themselves now. Ceres is our Mother Nature. Ceres is universal law. What can't be changed is universal law. And when something's out of whack universally, eventually, karma's going to put it back into whack and make it deal with its karmic debts, basically. That's what Ceres is. And Ceres deals with the womb. Ceres deals with our parenting skills, our mothering skills, our also it deals with, it's like the harvest. And if you really didn't tend to your seed and what you were sowing well, then your harvest might be crap, basically, because it shows us the downside as well as the upside. Ceres does. Ceres doesn't play favorites. She doesn't just show the love. She also points out where parenting and mothering has been done poorly in the way of self-love, self-worth, self-value, eating disorders, of abandonment, of child custody cases, along those lines. So either it is bringing in that energy, Ceres is, that karmic energy that goes with natural order of law, often is too close to home, and is moving into Cancer. With right now, Sun and Mars is there. So this is going to make it very highly emotional. Really. I mean, because Cancer is very emotional, but Cancer doesn't necessarily deal with things straight on either. But the reason I'm telling you that is because Vista, at the end of the week, is going to be moving into next week, actually, right as we start next week. Vista moves into Virgo. This is where these energy shifts are coming in. Vista is moving into Virgo. Mercury and Sun at the end of the week will also be moving into Leo. You have Mercury that will be moving into Virgo. Vista will be moving into Virgo. Mercury will be moving into Virgo. Mars and the Sun will be moving into Leo. Sorry, got them a little bit stuck. So let's think about this. The reason I went through saying that is because I want you to realize what's going on with the body and the auras and the chakras, because I'm being shown the rainbow effect of the chakras, and I'm put in pain with certain information to pull out to help us understand how we're going to work through unclogging and cleaning those chakras. But before I get into that, these planets, as they move into these signs, the planets bring in energy, but so does the sign. And if we follow astrology from Aries to Pisces, we start right here at our crown and we move all the way down to our feet. And so we're looking at the energies basically that are going to be going on from our breast, our chest, our stomach, our womb, our heart, our spine, our lower back, our gut, our intestines, our spleen, our abdomen. So basically, your whole entire torso, from like here to your, to where your legs split. Basically, every area of there is coming in with energy right now, with all of this being shocked. So those who pick up energies and who pick up on these energy shifts and have been feeling them in the head, the headaches, the earaches, the third eye feel information that you're getting, and just odd feelings within them, as well as the hot chills. I mean, the hot flashes or the cold chills, or just the cold flu feeling. Some people get it with restless sleep. Some people get it with just being restless in general. And then you're going to start feeling it right now because of so much energy that's moving on, which is that divine work happening. But what it is the reset. It's a flush out, basically, of all of this junk, all of this lower vibrations that we've been holding on to, all of the resentment, the guilt, the frustration, the anger, what we can't let go of. It's stuck in there, keeping us clogged and keeping us from making it to where we really are trying to get. This is coming in and really doing a number over the next 2 weeks. So if you pick up energies and you're feeling extra pain right in through here, which for no real reason, you've got the stomach ache, the nauseousness, diarrhea, you're having problems. I mean, it's hitting everywhere, basically, is the way it's looking. And that's what they're pointing out to me. Because what they are telling me is our top 3 chakras are coming in to consciousness of the denial. Our throat, our crown, and our third eye are starting to see the truth, are starting to deal with the truth, are starting to speak the truth. But as we're starting to come out of those denials, out of those unconscious things that we've buried, is what I'm being shown as these 3 are starting to basically come into a balance. What's happening is the lower 4 are also coming into a balance. However, they are really getting cleaned out and, like I said, flushing you out in a sense of all of that you've been holding on to, and that's been stopping you from possibly manifesting or moving forward the way you want. And that's because I'm being told it's not that we're manifesting wrong, but that we're not in our full power. We're not in the belief of understanding our full power. And that's what they're wanting us to come to understand better. And as we clean out these chakras and we enter this 6 months, we should be moving forward and evolving in this way. They are telling me that yes, we are dealing with relationships. And relationships, you have a relationship with everything. You have a relationship with yourself. You have a relationship with your family. You have a relationship with your friends, your loved ones, with your working environment, with your car, with your money. Anything that matters to you is a relationship, period. And what is happening within these relationships, as well as, like I said, with ourselves, is we're finding judgments, awareness, and clarity. And this is when they start to show me the rainbow, because they're showing me some of the pains that are brought about in these areas as we start to work through, because it's giving us a growth of what our true core energy is and what our true soul fire is, so that we not only believe in ourselves but mean it, and are able to express ourselves the way we should be. Because this is our core energy, this is our self-worth, this is our sun energy as well as our warrior energy. But it's teaching us how to be honest with ourselves and bring out that creative expression, true consideration of ourselves and others, without the ego, but from a true point of view, and find compassion still with yourself to do what needs to be done, as well as outwardly. So this is a big internal growth that's going on. And I am being told, and I said it last week, if you are in denial and you don't work on yourself and you are having trouble, I am being shown where it's going to get harder. Because if you're not being honest with yourself and really truly moving forward, like I said, Chiron is in retrograde. Chiron is the keys to our wholeness. And in retrograde, it's going to keep hitting us with things that's going to make us start to move forward and start to heal. And if we just don't want to hear it and can't let go to move forward and find that compassion and consideration, forgiveness for ourselves or others, it's going to become more difficult. The more we're stuck in ego, the more harder it's going to be. The more we're working with it, the more freeing we're going to be. It's that simple, whether you want to admit it or not. Now, this is the one thing I am given, because I am given some spirit animals, but it's so all over the board depending on where I'm being shown people are at. Because like I said, if they're in denial and whatnot, it's going to be very hard. And those are some darker spirit energies for some deep down work. And then I'm being given also the moose. And the moose speaks to us of balance. It's pretty much I'm being given the moose or the bat. And I'm also shown maggots, which works with Pluto. And you'll understand when I get into talking about Pluto, if you don't know. But I am being shown a part of helping us understand is right now you have, in astrology, you have Venus This week is kind of like Venus is our senses, speaking to Vista, which is our soul, our sacred fire. And it holds our solar plexus and our power, but it embraces our sacral chakra. It embraces that second chakra. Not just sexuality, but how you feel about you. How good you feel about you. And what I'm given is the belly dancer. My friend Kemi, you will know who you are because I thought of you when this was given to me. And it gave me a whole new perspective because I'm being given several goddesses are giving me their image. And most of those goddesses are dealing with war or destruction, but they also deal with healing. And then I'm given several of the Hindu goddesses or gods in general, and they have several arms. The hands too. It's the whole sexual comfortable movement that we see with the belly dancer, or the idea of the belly dancer. Dancing is a celebration, but what the goddesses are reminding us is, it's not just a feminine energy, because men can dance. Men can enjoy dancing, and it's not just a feminine energy, but like the Hindu gods have several arms. When we are dancing, we're pulling in energy to ourselves. We feel good, we're enjoying life, we feel sexy, we believe in ourselves, we're more loose. And as we're moving our arms, we also are realizing, or we often don't realize, but that's what the goddesses are explaining, is you're manifesting. And all of these movements are actually shifting of energy, are actually controlling, pushing away energy that's not good for you, bringing in the energy that is. Bringing in the energy that makes you feel good, bringing in the energy that makes you believe in yourself, bringing in the fire of standing in your power, as well as no. So the belly dancer is connected to this energy, and we're being told, you don't necessarily need to go out and take belly dancing, but pull that energy into you. Realize that as we move our arms and stuff, we're not just moving our arms. This is all part of who and what we are, and we manifest through our very actions, through our beliefs, and our energy in general. So bring the energy in by that sacred fire of belief in yourself, of feeling good sexually about yourself. Sexually does not just mean sex and in bed with somebody else. It means I look in the mirror and I like who I am. I look in the mirror and I'm honest with myself. And you know what? I got a few weight issues. Most women do. Most people do. Not everybody does, but all of us have some self-issues. But when you can still see past it and love yourself for who you are and not flaunt it, but own yourself and then bring it in. This is where they're telling me to connect that belly dancing energy to the goddesses for you and into bringing in what you truly want and believe, and realize that you actually are pushing energy around, and you're so much more powerful than you realize. And through this, you have more power. And the more you get into understanding that, the stronger and better you will feel. Better. Period. Okay, as I move into this week in astrology, the moon starts out the week in Aquarius, meaning we're ballsy. Period. We are ballsy. We're independent. We're individuals. I mean, we are independent individuals who are creative, and hell be it if you try to stop me. But then it moves into Pisces. It moves into Pisces on Wednesday and Thursday, which was when it becomes emotional. Pisces is fantasy related and wanting to make the fantasy a reality, as long as you're doing it in an honest way with yourself and you're not doing it through hiding in fantasy that is not true. Meaning, we often want to believe things are better than what they are because we don't want to deal with the truth. That is a bad area for us if we don't want to deal with the truth, if we're stuck in denial. Pisces, water energy is going to come through this week on that, and then we're going to bounce into Aries fire, which is that beginning. Like I said, we were given 5 runes this week, which was Nathis. Nathis is dealing with the denial, needing to warm the cold, karmic obstacles. Iwaz is talking about the denial again, so that we can start to let that be dead and actually move up and out of it. Then we move into Sawilo, which is talking to us of finding the light, finding our way past the illusion that seems to be stopping us. Othal is believing in yourself and knowing that the power is in you. And then we move into Kinez, which then gives us our fire. Now, like I said, this week is Venus, Virgo, and Pluto. I'm going to tell you all this other energy, but those 3 are what you need to know. Because Venus is our senses. Now realize, Venus is in Gemini. Gemini has 2 faces. Not two-faced, but 2 faces. It has 2 personalities. It sees 2 sides to everything. It is Jekyll and Hyde. It's curious. It wants to know. It always wanting to try and experience an experiment, but that does not necessarily make it a good thing. And you're not exactly sure which side you're going to get. You're talking to Venus and the senses. The senses are on a high alert because they're talking to Jekyll and Hyde, which is seriously making the ego show itself and the soul show itself. Which in there, somewhere in there, is the soul fire. That's where the heart is. But it's coming through the solar plexus, the heart, and the sacral chakra right now because of Vista. Vista is the soul fire, and she's in Leo. Leo is the chest and the stomach and the breast. Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for rebirth, renewal, and regeneration. And it's in retrograde. It says, I said this shit has to happen now, and I ain't playing. This end of the discussion. So Pluto is really having a conversation with our senses and our soul fire. Even if it doesn't always show it, it really is. And Pluto is going to speak to you in your knees this week. Well, not just this week, but because right now it's in Capricorn. We have, for our challenges this week, we have a T-square challenge that's going on where Venus, again, is in Gemini. It is speaking to Neptune, which is in retrograde, which is in Pisces, which is everything that your magic is made of. Neptune is where your magic is made. It is where fantasy meets harsh reality. It's where we want to believe something that's not true because we so desperately need to believe it, versus what is really truly coming through clean, honest, let me create energy. And in retrograde, it is really talking to us of what is possible and what is not. So you've got your senses talking to retrograde Neptune, which is then talking to Lilith. Lilith is your dark moon. She is going to be pointing out everything that she was resentful about. Everything that you can't tell me or make me do what I damn well don't want to do. And she's going to be really pushing your buttons. And that's where you've got to start listening to, is this soul ego? Where's my soul fire in here? And is it worth it? What is your proper perspective? What is the true perspective in this situation? Now you also have, in fire energies this week you have Lilith again, which is in Sagittarius, which is, she's ballsier than average right now. She's in fire. She's in fire energy. Sagittarius, which is ready, is the same. I'm ready to experience and take on and try and have knowledge of, let me learn. So she's ready. She is having this conversation again with Neptune. But you also have Saturn, which is also in retrograde, in Sagittarius, picking up energy from Chiron. Chiron's the wounded healer. He is talking to Saturn directly, both of them in retrograde, about what is it that has to heal? What is it that you're not getting? What is it in your boundaries and your rules department that you won't change, that you have to? Okay? Because if you don't, you're not going to heal. You're not going to get better. You're not going to make things the most happiest, most positive life you want unless you learn these lessons. And they're going to be really poking at you. Okay? Now you've got Pluto, which is in Capricorn. Again, your death, decay, and destruction for rebirth, renewal, and regeneration, which means the change that has to happen, is speaking to Mars and the Sun, which is in Cancer. Mars is our warrior, and the Sun is our core. So our core and our warrior are having a conversation as to what is it that truly needs this warring to be about. What is it that I need to be my warrior goddess? Where does this need to come out? Where does it need to come out? Where am I flaunting this energy and having this passion, this power, this fire? And is it the right reasons? And it is talking, again, to the changes that needs to happen. And that's speaking to Uranus and Pallas. Pallas is Athena. Pallas is Athena, but she's in Taurus. But they're still close enough to pick up this energy. Pallas is Athena, the wise, the warrior goddess of strategy. She can teach you so much, but she can also teach you not just the wiseness, but it takes you back to the belly dancer, the warrior goddess with the wiseness. How can you use all of this sacred fire the Vista is trying to bring to us this week of helping us love ourselves, believe in ourselves, have faith in ourselves, trust in ourselves, courage in ourselves? And Athena is telling you, well, how can you use this in a positive way to help you throughout life? I'm not saying just in a sexual strategy way. I'm saying she's got the fire with the wisdom, basically. And they're talking to Uranus, talking to your independent, your inventive human self. How can you bring all of this up and out? But this is where this flushing energy is coming out, okay? Because these are the challenges. These are the ones that are not as easy to work with. And Pluto and Jupiter are talking this week. So Jupiter is bringing the abundance, period. The abundance this week is going to Pluto from Jupiter with knowledge of what it is that death, decay, and destruction for rebirth, renewal, and regeneration need to have. Now, the problem is on the positive side, and I am being given a lot of green and yellow energy, which can go either way. This is meant to be a healing week and an enlightening week, which will also be a psychic uplifting week if you're doing it. But if you're doing your stuff and you're working on your true self. But when there's too many sextiles in astrology, we can take all that good positive energy and kind of become lazy about it and not really get what we need to get accomplished. So this is why it's one of those, you have to stick to your guns about it. You have to be committed to this right now, because the sextiles can really just make you miss it and not completely get what you need out of it. Because you've got Venus, which is in Gemini, the two sides of your body. Gemini speaks to anything that you have two of: 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 lungs, anything that's two hands, pain in your arms, stuff along that line. This is your senses coming out through those emotions, speaking to Mercury, which is speaking to Jupiter, which then is speaking to Lilith. And separately, you have Pluto and Neptune. All of these are sextiles. They are very much in positive ways of helping us work through it, as long as we don't get so comfortable and feeling good about it that we become lazy and we miss the point because we didn't act on it. But for the true positives this week, we have Mars and the Sun in Cancer are speaking to Venus. Mars, your warrior, your action, your passion, your fire, your aggressiveness. And the Sun, your core, is speaking to Venus in a positive way of what those senses are that's going to be good for you. Listen. Listen to Venus and what she's trying to give to you and Vista. Listen to your Venus this week, your Vista, and your Pluto. Get into your chakras. Get into your senses of what is good and what isn't. Truly listen to your gut on that area and know that Pluto is pointing a direction to you. You've got, like I said, you had Mars, Sun speaking to Venus in a positive way. You have Jupiter speaking to Venus also. So Jupiter in a negative way is really, not negative, but in the challenging, hard ways. Jupiter and Pluto are like head to head, making Pluto really push out those energies. But Venus is pushing them out too in a positive way. So even though some denials might come up and some hardships might come up and some difficulties might come up, listen to the truth behind the emotion. Listen to the truth behind the emotion. If you're angry, why are you angry? Because deep down there's a message there. If it's uncomfortable, why are you uncomfortable? There's a message there. Venus is giving you answers if you know how to listen. Then you have Lilith and Saturn are both talking to Mercury, Vista, and the node, which will both be in Leo at this time, which is fire on fire. You've got Lilith, your dark moon, getting into everything that you haven't let go of, that's still dark. Basically, where your ego is, where you can't be pushed around and you think you know it all. And your Saturn of, these are the rules and this is how it's going to be and you can't change me, and they are having a conversation, but in a strengthening way to Mercury of how to go about doing it in a positive way for you. How to bring that Vista energy of that sacred inner fire. Not just a woman's fire, but inner fire. Because Vista wasn't just known for her sexuality, which also gets into that whole, you know, your sexual organs and feeling them being cleaned out in this flesh out. But she was also known for healing. So she's speaking. The thing is these two are literally like the same degree, Vista and the node. And this is why Vista is just in such a fire, because she's traveling at the moment with the node. And the node is all about what is it you gotta do to move forward. And Leo, it's all about courage. It's all about having your fire. It's all about what do you enjoy and how can you enjoy life. But it also speaks to us of the king being responsible for his royal family, for his, you know, as king, for his kingdom, for doing the right thing. And what is the sacrifice that must take for the king to be a good king? Or is he being a crap king? And this is the energy that's going on. Remember, it is good to be of service. It is always good to be of service. But you gotta love yourself. If you're so good to everybody else and you're always helping everybody else, but you're not helping yourself, well, you're only going to be able to do a quarter of what you wanted to do because you haven't loved yourself enough to get you there. I'm not saying put yourself first. I'm saying don't put yourself last. Remember that you deserve it. I told a friend just yesterday, because she was trying to do way too much. She's just hoping to move and move shortly. And she's trying to sell off some furniture and working all night, because we work overnight. And and then up during the day trying to take care of everything. And she just was so exhausted. And I'm like, babe, I know that you got a goal to get everything taken care of so that you can move. And that's a great thing, but pace yourself. Because the goal is to still be alive when it comes time to move. This is what I'm saying. Don't let somebody be better than you. And don't put the goals so powerful that you can't make them because you killed yourself making them. I'm not saying that you have all the time in the world, but I'm saying don't forget, right now is the only time that really matters. You've got to make time for everything. That is called balance. And lastly, we have Saturn and Lilith is also talking to Uranus. And that is our individuality coming into that sacred fire of who and what we are. And in Aries, that is me first energy. That is the first sign. That is the starting point. This is the first year of a path of 9. You're learning exactly where you need to be to start the next 8 years. I love you. Hugs and kisses, everybody, and I will see you next week. Be good to yourself and treat yourself well. Love you. Bye.